Hey everybody, it is that time of the month once again when I bother you for a few minutes about my Patreon campaign and remind you that that is a thing that exists that you can contribute to if you like my YouTube work and if you are willing and able to support the channel and support me with a monthly contribution on Patreon. The first thing I want to do is thank all of you guys who are currently doing that. At last check this morning, my Patreon campaign was at 139 patrons, supporting me with a total of $693 a month. That is fantastic, and I thank all of you who are Patreon patrons for this channel. It is phenomenal, and I love you guys. It was actually over 700 for a little bit, but a couple people dropped off at the end of the month, which is fine, which is understandable. In fact, it gives me a good opportunity to remind you guys that when you pledge to someone's Patreon campaign, it is not a lifetime commitment. You're free to drop off at any time, and that's perfectly fine. It's part of the deal. If you find that your budget can't support your contribution anymore, you can cancel at any time. There's no commitment. If you watch one of my videos and you decide, gee, I misjudged this guy, he's kind of an asshole, I don't want to support him anymore, no problem. You can cut me off at any time. It's perfectly within your power, within your control. So we're at just under the $700 a month level. I'm going to quickly go over the milestones I have coming up, as I do every month. I'm going to make it quick, short, and sweet. I'm going to tell you about the milestones, tell you about the most recent Patreon patron hangout that I had, mention the next one upcoming at the end of this month. I'll give a few people some shout outs for giving me a donation of $5 a month or more, and then we're done. We're out of here. So there are 4 milestones I have yet to reach, and just in case you're not sure what the hell I'm talking about, the Patreon funding milestones are funding levels that I reach, and then I promise that I will do something special once I reach those levels. I'm currently, as I said, at just a hair under $700 a month. When I reach the $1,000 a month level, that's the point when I will produce 5 more Stupid Things videos. My 5 Stupid Things videos are among my most popular series. A lot of people just watch this channel for those. Maybe some of you are in that camp. A couple years ago, I did a special series of 5 videos where I returned and revisited previously covered topics. And I talked about 5 more stupid things about those topics, because after all, the hardest part is choosing only 5. So I chose 5 more for those selected topics and did videos about those. When I get to $1,000 a month, I'm going to do that again. And the little twist for the Patreon patrons this time is that you guys who are contributing patrons get to vote on what 5 topics I will return to revisit with a 5 more Stupid Things video. Next, at the $1,500 a month level, when I get to that threshold, I will produce new original audio podcasts of the An Atheist Reads series, and that will be both the An Atheist Reads series I have already done in video form and concurrently produced podcast versions of every An Atheist Reads series that I do from that point forward. So all of the old ones will be re-recorded in high quality audio form. I'm going to go back and revisit them, go back over the scripts, see if I can improve them or clear them up or incorporate new thoughts that I've had on those subjects since I recorded those videos, which in some cases was a few years ago, and produce really high quality audio only versions that you can listen to on your iPod, you can listen to in your car, you can listen to when you go for a jog, when you're doing the dishes. That's when I listen to a lot of podcasts. Anytime you want, portable audio podcast versions of An Atheist Read. Beyond that, at $2,000 a month, I will begin producing a live weekly podcast. Where you guys can not only watch or listen to it live, but you can call in. There'll be interaction. I'm going to get my wife Ashley to co-host it with me. We'll have guests. We'll have interviews. It'll be like a talk show. It'll be like a real no-fooling talk show, live on the internet once a week. That's at the $2,000 a month level, and that's something I'm really looking forward to. I can't wait to do that. And then the only other milestone I have defined after that at this point is $3,000 a month, and at that point I invest in a major upgrade of my video production equipment. I get new lighting, I get new cameras, I maybe can afford to hire some help. Who knows? If I'm making $3,000 a month on Patreon, I can afford to really up the production level of this channel, do things that are just really just beyond my capability at this point. Travel a bit, shoot more things on location, shoot things on a sort of a larger scale, do multi-camera shoots, higher quality audio, higher quality effects, higher quality video production. Just do some things that I would love to be able to do right now that I just can't do because I can't afford it, I don't have the time, or I can't do it by myself. Those are the milestones. Now let's talk about some of the perks, admittedly minor though they may be, that you can take advantage of when you are a patron of my Patreon account. There are two main ones. The first is, if you are a Patreon patron, once a month, you get an invitation to hang out with me for an hour in a live Google Plus Hangout. And I've done two of these so far. The first one was back in September. The second one was just a couple weeks ago at the end of October, on October 26th actually. And that one was awesome. It was such a good time. We hung out for the full hour and a little bit more. We ended up having a full house in the Hangout. It was filled to capacity. Most of the people in the Hangout were people I had not interacted with before. I hadn't talked to you guys before. Some of you have left comments on my videos for a while, but I'd never spoken to you face to face. And it was just a great, great time. The deal is, once a month I have a live Google Plus Hangout where once it's on the air, anybody who feels like watching it can watch it streamed live on my YouTube channel. But if you are a Patreon patron of mine, you watch my Patreon activity feed, and about 15 minutes before we go live, I will post a link that you can click to join me live in the Hangout. And it's for patrons only, who are allowed to join me in the Hangout. And man, we had such a great time this last time. We talked about, it's sort of open discussion. You can ask me questions, we can talk about whatever people feel like talking about. This time we ended up talking a lot about artificial intelligence and whether or not if it happens, it will be a good thing or sort of a doomsday omen for humanity. It wound up being a really fun, really far-reaching, open, sprawling discussion with a lot of really fun, really awesome people who have been kind enough to support me and this channel through Patreon. So it was an awesome time. And the next one is going to be Sunday, November 30th, starting at noon Eastern time. So if you're a patron of mine, or you are going to become a patron of mine and you want to participate in the Patreon Hangout, the next one, Sunday, November 30th, starting at noon Eastern, streaming live for an hour. So mark your calendars now. Sunday, November 30th will be the next Patreon patron Hangout. I anticipate it being an awesome time, just like this previous one was. I hope to see some familiar faces again and some new faces who I haven't seen before. And it's just a lot of fun for everybody. And I hope that some of you watching will consider joining me for the next one. The other tiny little perk for Patreon patrons is, if you donate to my campaign at a rate of $5 a month or more, you get a shout out at the end of these videos. And now that I have reached the end of this one of these videos, I'm going to give shout outs to the folks who've been kind enough to make $5 donations a month or more since the last time I did one of these. So here are the patron shout outs for this month. All of these guys have donated $5 a month or more to my Patreon campaign. Dan, Phil Neuner, or Neuner, I'm not quite sure how your name is pronounced there, Phil. It's Neuner. I think it might be Neuner or Neuner. Alicia, Rodney Brock, a Skeptosaurus, I like that name, Terry Williams, Joel Erickson, and Gary Steelman. Those are the new $5 or more a month patrons that I've acquired since the last time I gave shoutouts. Thank you guys so much for going a little bit above and beyond, or in cases of some of you, quite a bit above and beyond, and donating to my Patreon campaign. $5 a month or more gets you a shout out at the end of these thank you for your patronage videos at the start of every month. So if you haven't become a patron of mine yet, but you're thinking about it, consider that. Consider the chance to hang out with me in a live hangout once a month. It's completely optional. Patrons don't get any extra content that non-patrons don't get. There aren't patron-only videos on my channel. There aren't exclusive content that only patrons can access. Everybody gets the same videos. It's just if you like what I do and you are interested and you are able, and it's not going to take money out of your pocket that you can't afford to lose or food off your table, the Patreon campaign is there. It's patreon.com/Steve Shives. There's a link in the description box. If this is something you're interested in, please follow the link, go to my Patreon page, and contribute whatever you feel you can afford and whatever you feel like I'm worth. I appreciate every single one of you guys, whether you donate $1 a month or whether you donate 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or more dollars a month, which some of you do. Incredibly, I can't tell you how grateful I am to all of you. Thank you guys so much. I'll see some of you in the Hangout at the end of this month, and I'll be back next month to hassle you about my Patreon campaign again. Thanks for supporting me, everybody, and thanks for watching.